sorry. You're drinking.
He was at least home.
You what? Yeah, right back there. Come on. liberating ministry, those working for the $700 an hour.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Good morning. I'm Lillian Mashburn, Chairman of the Rummage Sale 2022, and it's been a long time since we've got to have one of those. The sale will run, the gathering of stuff and the sale will run from May 1 to May 6th. On Sunday after church on May the 1st, we're going to clear out this area, clear out the fellowship hall, and we'll start setting up tables and be ready to accept rummage. And then on Friday at noon, we'll start selling. And then again on Saturday at 8 o'clock. So we will need to have a lot of people here. We're looking for, it's an all hands on deck, people to sort, to price, put out merchandise and to price it. people to help unload cars, and people to use their trucks to bring things to the church. If you happen to have access to a truck, let me know as soon as possible. We are going to rent a small container, but we're going to need some trucks to help pick up stuff and then to help people get their treasures back home. So if you have access to a truck, let me know. We will need to plan ahead, but I do need to say we're not wanted. We will not accept dirty or broken items. If you wouldn't give it to your children, don't bring it. No broken appliances, broken exercise equipment, or broken electronics. Only flat screen TVs or working computers. If it doesn't work, throw it away. And we cannot accept car seats or other baby items that don't meet safety standards. Those are illegal. If you don't want to purchase items this year, we have some alternatives. You can give money to the church designated for the rummage sale. We hope to support families who are graduating from Family Promise and the Bridge Refuge Center. And I think you may have seen on the news that we're going to be getting some people from Ukraine, and they're going to need a lot of support, items and furniture and things of that nature. And so they can come and purchase items there. This has been very successful and in the past. We also need food to feed volunteers. These folks work hard and get hungry. So if you can help with the food, please let me know. If you contribute 5 hours of volunteer time, you'll be able to purchase stuff at half price. And it will be important to keep track of the hours that you work. We're looking forward to this event. I'm excited about it. We had a lot of fun last time, and it's a good opportunity to get to know each other even better. So anyway, thanks so much, and looking forward to it.
Good morning. I keep looking for Chris. It's like, here's like, well, who's next? Oh, me. It's good to see you this morning, and to tell you that you are welcomed here. You are welcome wherever you are in your journey. You are welcome here if it's first time. You are welcome here if it's your last time. You are welcomed. So I have to tell you, I'm not one of those people. I believe that the program is only advice. So if by some chance I don't follow the program, enjoy it. We're along for the ride. But let us begin the worship.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Whiteness and Power Over by Alston Channing Brown. My faith was born in the Black church, but growing up, I also was constantly surrounded by white evangelism. I've been around whiteness a long time, and in all kinds of different denominations. I've seen them all. I learned the hard way that there is a deep difference between the Jesus that Black folks worship and the Jesus that white Christians worship. The Jesus that Black folks worship doesn't ask questions like, but does the gospel really have anything to do with race and justice? Black Jesus doesn't hesitate to say, Black Lives Matter. Black Jesus stands for the oppressed, cares for those who are most marginalized, and does not just care. He sits with, lives with, fights for, is angered by the mistreatment, protests with. White Jesus is primarily interested in self, in money, capitalism. How much can I get? How much power can I hoard? It's all about self, and it's all about the preservation of self, of ego, mostly power, a deep desire to wield power over others. Power over is white Jesus. Power over is a Christianity that would say slavery is the way God intended things to be. But my experience as a Black woman who has grown up in the era post the Civil Rights Movement and post-perceived integration, my experience is that white folks just want a pinch of Blackness, just a splash, a smattering, a little toss of confetti of Blackness in order to affirm itself, in order to affirm its own goodness, in order to affirm its rightness, in order to get rid of any feelings of guilt, in order to keep itself comfortable so that it can continue to practice power over.
Good morning. We come to this segment of our service for the joys and concerns. And today, if the music and the speaking, readings today are all around Palm Sunday, this is the beginning of Holy Week for those who observe it. This was the day that is commemorated that Jesus came from the Mount of Olives down to his triumphal entry into Jerusalem, and they put him on a donkey that was covered with clothes and branches on the ground. And Holy Week entails the Last Supper, the crucifixion, and the resurrection of Jesus. Joys and concerns. Joys, the U.S. is accepting 100,000 Ukrainians, many at the U.S.-Mexican border, to claim asylum, enabling them to stay in the United States while their cases are processed. So anyone who knows of anyone or speaks Ukrainian, we certainly could use you for the Knoxville Immigrant and Transit Assistance, where we meet the buses, the Greyhound buses in Knoxville. So this is a real exciting time for us. And the faith groups have been leading the charge to welcome the displaced. Our concerns today, there are many global concerns, are in our congregation. Please hold Matthew Blondell's Aunt Joyce Scott in love and light. She had a heart attack yesterday, had surgery, and is currently in the MCIU at Parkside Hospital in Chattanooga. There's also a friend here in the congregation who is facing, she just found out she's facing severe surgery coming up. And another one is traveling to the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida for a procedure. So if we would, this time of meditation and prayer, we can take a deep breath, and if you want to, you can close your eyes. Spirit of love, Spirit of life, we come together with a welcome spirit of gratitude, which is so warming to our souls. Gratitude for another day of life, for the sights and sounds of spring, and for signs of hope we find. We hear the cries of those who are displaced, who have lost loved ones, and those who have experienced cruelty. We have so many concerns, and in silence we name them to ourselves for a moment. We ask for courage and comfort, and we realize we are the Spirit of love's ears, hands, backs, and feet. May it be so.
Last night I lay sleeping, there came a dream so fair. I stood in old Jerusalem, beside the temple there. I heard the children singing, and ever as they sang, methought the voice of angels from heaven in answer rang. Methought the voice of angels from heaven in answer rang. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, lift up your gates and sing, Hosanna in highest, Hosanna to your King. And then methought my dream was changed, the streets no longer rang. Hushed were the glad hosannas, the little children sang. The sun grew dark with mystery, the morn was cold and chill, as the shadow of a cross arose upon a lonely hill, as the shadow of a cross arose upon a lonely hill. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, hark how angels sing, Hosanna in highest, Hosanna to your King. And once again the scene was changed. New earth there seemed to be. I saw the holy city beside the tidal sea. The light of God was on its streets, the gates were open wide, and all who would might enter, and no one was denied. No need of moon nor stars by night, nor sun to shine by day. It was the new Jerusalem that would not pass away. It was the new Jerusalem that would not pass away. Jerusalem, sing, for the night is o'er. Hosanna in the highest, Hosanna forevermore. Hosanna in the highest, Hosanna forevermore.
Good morning. Before I get started, I think we should give another round of applause to that song. That was absolutely gorgeous.
That was beautiful.
Sometimes with the mask off, it just really emphasizes the sound, and what a gift we have to listen to that this morning. Amen. I'm thankful for my phone this morning, so pardon me if I look down at it quite a bit. But my name is Heather Kistner. I'm a member. My family and I are members at the church here. I grew up being a Unitarian, and I'm happy to say that and be with you this morning. I'm a member of the board here at TVUUC and also the new chair of the stewardship committee. But that does not go without saying that I am guided and helped and shown how to be the chair, if you will, with the help of Taylor Thomas, who I don't believe is here this morning, Ted Jones, who's a member of our choir, Denise Coleman, who's also a member of our choir, and last but not least, Jenna Mashburn, who is also a member of our choir. So together we are working for the stewardship campaign this morning, or at this time, and I'll be speaking about that in just a minute. So today is a Share the Plate offering Sunday, with all contributions not marked as a pledge being split with our Share the Plate organization for today, which is the Planned Parenthood of East Tennessee, and a representative will be coming up shortly to share with you why they're here. Let me quickly go over the ways that you can give to TVUUC. I think last time I spoke, someone in the congregation said there were 6 ways, and I misread my bullet points and said 8, but that individual that said 6 was correct. There are 6 ways that you can give to the church. One of which, yes, is the beautiful offertory basket. You can mail a church, excuse me, no you can't. You can mail a check to the church at 2931 Kingston Pike, Knoxville 37919. You can again place your gift here in the basket. We have a kiosk in the lobby, which, I don't know, I just think it's really cool to just stand in your place of worship and go up to the kiosk and give a few bucks. But you can do that. It's connected to the internet, and therefore you can connect to the website and press on the link, and voila, your gift is where you want it to be. You can use your phone, text a message to TVUUC and the word amount to 73256. I applaud Claudia for having all of this memorized, wherever you may be, Claudia. That's a skill that I do not have this morning. So by getting on to your Realm account, those of you who have a Realm account, you can do direct deposit. That's what my family and I do. If you don't know what Realm is, please let one of us know. We are happy to answer any questions and show you how to set up an account. It's fairly easy, and it's just nice information to have. You can access a lot of different things on Realm. So to make a pledge, this is my segue. To make a pledge for the 22-23 fiscal year online, there is a link that you can press on the website, which makes it handy. As of now, as of late, we have 128 pledges. Our goal is to have 300 pledges. Now, you notice that I don't say an amount. I'm not going to say an amount, and please do not ask me to say an amount that we have, because I think the importance this year is to simply have a pledge, to be able to know that you have given what you can, what you want, to this church, because this church is a lot of things for our community. So I received something from Chris Spice this morning, and I would like to read it to you with his permission. It's not something that I wrote, but I would like to read it. It's entitled, "The Hard Sell," or "The Soft Sell." The South is the land of hard sell religion. Churches market their faith with in-your-face approaches that include aggressive salesmanship, direct door-to-door marketing, peer pressure tactics, and unsolicited sales pitches. In contrast, the Unitarian Universalist Church tends to focus on the soft sell. Our impulse is to focus on attraction more than self-promotion, welcoming rather than marketing, an invitation rather than the strong arm tactic. Paradoxically, this could explain why we are such a small denomination. My natural inclination is the soft sell. Indeed, I may be constitutionally incapable of the hard sale. Even so, let's support our stewardship team in their efforts to raise the funds that we need to support your dreams. Raise the funds that we need to support your dreams. I'm going to branch off from that reading for a moment and tell you something that I experienced 2 Sundays ago. I was in the garden after church and working with a young lady. I'll let it be her tale with her name. But I hadn't worked with her before, and I was in there with 4 or 5 other folks. We all had our shovels. It was a beautiful day, and she popped her head up and said, "You know, this is the first time that I've held a shovel and dug." It's like, what? How can this be? I was raised in a gardening family, but not everyone has been. And she said, "Yeah, this is my first time that I'm digging in the dirt, and this is going to be the very first time that I'm going to have a garden." And Barbara Lamb looked up and said, "It's not dirt, it's soil." Pardon. So it's just a small example of what this church and the church grounds provide for our community, because her goal, as she shared with a small group of us, was that she wants to start a garden in those that are very food insecure and give away her produce. She said, "I don't know if I should do that because then I would be taking away sales from the farmer's market." I said, "No, they have plenty of money down there in the Knoxville Farmers Market. And I'll come and I'll help you hand out free produce." That was really touching. And this is a grown woman. This isn't a child. She's probably a little younger than myself. And I just thought that was really, really powerful. Really powerful. So as we emerge from the pandemic isolation, with that statement, we're going to be reimagining what we want our church to be together. Reimagining. This is an opportunity that we didn't know we were going to have, and the pandemic has pushed us into such, and what a gift and what a silver lining that is providing all of us, in my view. The most important resource we have as a congregation is our vision, our ideas, our commitment. For the words we so often say at the end of the worship service are true. And I quote, "Prophetic Church, the world awaits your liberating ministry. Go forward in the power of love and proclaim the truth that makes us free." Let it be. I'm so sorry. Yes. We're going to have a representative from Planned Parenthood of East Tennessee speak with us now, and the importance of their presence.
No worries. Hi, I'm so scared to stand close to this mic because I'm really loud by nature. Hi, everybody. My name is Noé Monares. I'm the health educator for Planned Parenthood of Tennessee and North Mississippi, and I'm based here in Knoxville. And I also coordinate our condom distribution program for all of East Tennessee. So basically, if anybody ever needs safer sex supplies like condoms or lubes, they just email us and I get that to them free of charge. We're here today basically because I know in the years past, you all have been a phenomenal community partner with our organization. And I know specifically our FYI program, our high school peer education program, has been granted the use of y'all's space when we've had other events at our community center, or recently now that we have no health center. And so that has just been like a guiding light for our FYI program, because we just know that this community, this congregation has just always been here for us. So I actually wanted to bring some of our FYI members today just to kind of talk about, because during this last year, since it's been during the pandemic, we've had to do everything virtual. We haven't really been able to meet in person. But that has granted us the opportunity to use more funds to bring in actual different speakers from around our city and actually from around this region to talk about different things that go into more profound exploration of what is a consent framework and how do we use trauma-informed care to when we're talking about sex ed with individuals that had adverse childhood experiences. So it's like the funds and the support that we get from y'all help us bring in these kind of phenomenal speakers to just kind of explore and open their worlds in a way that I never got when I was their age, and that, you know, the hope that we're all building a better future. So I actually want to let them just kind of each give a brief little thing about who was their favorite speaker and like what they learned. So yeah.
Hi, my name's Izzy, and my favorite session that we've had has been, I really like the anatomy and pregnancy option sessions that we have, where we have members of our organization come and talk about just like basic sex ed, so that we can share that information with our peers. And that's something that we don't really get in Knox County schools to the level that we do in the FYI program with Planned Parenthood. So it's really good to have that comprehensive sex education knowledge to share with our peers. Another one that I really like is the Consent and Communication Healthy Relationships program, or sessions that we have, because as a teen, as a young person, a lot of our peers don't have a lot of prior experience in healthy relationships. And so I think it's really important to recognize healthy versus unhealthy relationships and relationship dynamics. And it's really good for me to know that for myself, and also to share with my peers, friends, school, classmates, and all of the other young people in my life. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Mars, and my favorite lesson that we've had was about lobbying, because I really appreciate to know how I can help my community and others through the legislative scale, the legislative level. And recently, Izzy and I presented to our high school's equality club on how to lobby as well. So we're really given this awesome opportunity to really connect with our peers and share what we learned to them. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Avery, and my favorite presentation that we've done in the program so far has been with Amy Rowling about relationships and intimate partner violence. I think that it's really important to be informed on the warning signs of what could be a unhealthy relationship or partner violence, especially as a lot of the people around us are exploring different relationships, learning about their boundaries and what they want from said relationships. I'm happy to know I have the knowledge from that presentation to be able to help them if they come to me and say that they don't feel safe in a relationship, that they have a problem and they don't know where to go from there. I'm happy to know that I have the tools to be able to support them, and that's something that I think is important about all of the topics that we cover in FYI. So.
Great. I was going to do a shameless plug as well, that if any of y'all have any teenagers in y'all's lives that would benefit from learning sex ed or any other useful skills about developing healthy relationships, send them our way. Our program is currently accepting new applicants for the next school year. So, but again, without y'all's support, they would not be able to be learning these incredible things and doing the incredible work that they're doing in their schools. So again, thank you all so much for having us here. Yeah.
This offertory hymn tune, Wie schön leuchtet der Morgenstern, can be translated to How beautifully shines the morning star. And this text and melody were first put together in a publication about 400 years ago, and that was dedicated to the survivors of a plague at that time, and dedicated for their comfort and healing.
Joy. It is good to see you, and I'm here, and I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be naughty and take off my robe because I'm burning up. I wore a sweater underneath instead of a blouse, and I'm sweating bullets. So, well, the sermon this week is Thinking Too Much, and trust me, the title changed a lot between the time I wrote it and the time I'm presenting it. But the theme all stayed with me and has been with me for a while. And so if you don't like it or what I say, don't go to Chris. Come to me. He has enough on his plate. Well, I had the most delightful experience of being informed that my sermons were not intellectual enough. And notwithstanding the microaggression found in the statement and the white supremacy implied, it showed me that I was striking the correct chord with the congregation. Because what does it mean to be intellectual? Intellect is defined as involving thought and reason, is a person who tries to use their intelligence and analytical thinking either in their profession or for the benefit of personal pursuits. Thus, my sermons were deemed to be, did not display the intelligence or analytical skills needed to be interesting. And yet, what the person didn't realize, and what is important to know, ministers are not here to do a gymnastic approach to theological matters. Instead, we are asked to show how the scriptures, the theological thoughts, the sutras, the Quran, are related to everyday life. This requires the marriage of the heart, the faith, the emotion, and the spirit. In essence, the intellect, faith, is required to merge with the emotions, love, and the hope, your heart, live the meaning through your actions, spirit. Now, I knew I was coming to a UU church, okay? And your history shows that intellectual sermons were valued at one time. But it moved from being a practical religion to an intellectual religion, and it's moving back because when I recently talked to someone giving them an evaluation, the person said, "What do you think of them?" And I said, "They know how to use a sermon to teach." And they said, "Great, that's what we want." So, but you know, in prep for coming here, I bought this book. And it says, The Intellectual Devotional. And I read it for a couple of months. You know, I wanted to be ready for this church. I wanted to be a UU. I wanted Tennessee Valley to know I was on top of it. I stopped reading it after a while. Because I found that it gave me information, and it was a great book. And if you ever want to look, just come look at it. I'll have it here. It didn't match what we need to do to live our faith. Now, I have practiced this man's name, and I get it wrong every time. But Thich Nhat Hanh, does anyone guess? In Living Buddha and Living Christ, discusses the secular or the being atheist Christianity. He found that if you live the teaching of Jesus, everything you say and do in your life will be deeply spiritual. When we share the Dharma, we must speak carefully so that we and our listeners do not get stuck in words or concepts. It is our duty to transcend concepts to be able to encounter reality. When you see someone overflowing with love and understanding, we know that they are very close to the living Buddha and Christ. He is saying that being able to quote from the Dharma and the scripture is the intellectual pursuit. What is important is to live, to show the spirit of the Dharma and the scripture. Now, Jesus drew crowds because of his ability to show that the hypocrisy of the Pharisees with their strict adherence to the law and kind of missed the purpose. It was, you have to keep in mind, the Pharisees weren't bad people. Yeah, they were after Jesus, and yeah, they kept trying to, catch him out. But they weren't bad people because they saw themselves as maintaining and responsible for the law of Moses and to teach the people this. And they were the instruments on the behalf of Israel in order to keep step with her special calling as being the people of God. Now, it's all right to have ceremony and ritual and cleansing and fasting and prayer and the Torah and separation from the rest of the world. But as Jesus pointed out, they put their man-made traditions above God's commandments. And so you cared more about obedience and caring more about obedience and cleanliness, and instead of honoring or not killing or not stealing or taking, they care about everything else but the people. And so Jesus really kind of came in and said, I'm here to tell you the truth. This is where I'm going to break your laws and make you see what's happening. And of course, nobody likes that. By following the intellectual rule-making laws, they failed. The Pharisees failed to see the physical, emotional, and spiritual needs of the people. And when Jesus gives the Sermon on the Mount, people start to see how behavior, spirit, leads them to God. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to them. Blessed are those who mourn, for they'll be comforted. Action. There's action here. Blessed are the meek. People get bullied and knocked down. They will inherit the earth. They're given a promise that they'll be seen, that they will be valued. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful. Okay, you care for people, and you too will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Peacemakers, you're the children of God. Don't worry. Blessed are those who are persecuted. The kingdom of heaven belongs to you. Now, I love this one. When people insult you, persecute you, talk behind your back, gossip about you, on the cause of how you are, how you're living according to the way that Jesus says, hey, blessed are you. You know you've done the right thing. All right? Because then you stop worrying about, am I right, am I wrong? It's like, well, Jesus is okay with it. I'm okay with it. By portraying the scripture, it doesn't require higher learning. It requires you to understand how to relate all of this, Dharma, Scripture, Torah, Quran, to everyday feelings, emotions, events. People are able to grasp finally how do they achieve this kingdom and kingdom in this earth. How do I make my neighbor happy? How do I relate to them? And you know what? That's a relief, because especially if you can't read, now you know you still have a way to survive, that you love, that you care. And you're not trying to pursue intellectual, legalistic dictates. Now, here's the scary part of this sermon, because I have fought and tried to wrestle with humanism. Humanism explores an outlook or a system attaching prime importance to human, or rather than the divine or the supernatural. Right? Now that's important, because to me that says, well, that makes sense. Okay, all right. But then I start thinking, what does that mean? Okay, that's that intellectual part. I read the words, now how do I make it real? It's like, you're telling me I don't believe in a God, or gods, depending on where I'm coming from. I don't have supernatural beliefs, but I'm affirming and responsible to lead an ethical life of personal responsibility, a personal fulfillment that aspires to the greatest need, the greatest good. All right, I'm going to live my life for the world? It is a rational philosophy formed by science and motivated by compassion. I'm going to affirm the dignity of everybody I meet. It supports individual liberty, but it cares for everybody in participating in democracy, the expansion of an open society, standing for human rights and social justice. It frees me from the supernatural, and it makes me recognize that nature holds the values, be they religious, ethical, social, or political. Our goals are the human need. So I kept thinking, what does that mean? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm lost, a little slow here. But I realized that I had been reading about humanism in many ways. Does anyone here know about Zora Neale Thurston? Right. Did you know she wrote humanistic writings? I'm going to mention writers, at least two of them, who lived during the Harlem Renaissance. It's one of those words I can't pronounce, but it's there. You know what I mean. And she talks about how prayer is weakness and an attempt to avoid by trickery the rules of the game as laid down. And she goes on to say, it doesn't matter, because I will be here. Whether I am living or dying, I have no need for a collection and organized creeds. My consciousness is with the world. I was, when the earth was hurled from its fiery rim, I will return to the earth. And why fear? The stuff of my being, ever-changing, ever-moving, lost so that we domination creeds denied to the comfort of my fellow people. That, for me, I read that and thought, basically she's saying, forget the creed, forget everything, but remember the person, the people. Who do I hug? Who do I care for? You see, it may have been a language that might be intellectual, but there was some real moment of truth there, that even if I die, My being has been present on this earth and has given someone comfort. Can I say that about my life? Can we say that about our lives? That we've given someone comfort. Now, another one of my favorite writers, and you know, it really is interesting that maybe I'm a humanist and I didn't know. You know, like, whoa. Anton de Saint-Exupéry. Now, I know French, and I said that wrong probably, but he wrote The Little Prince, and I mentioned it in an earlier sermon. But he understood that, and this is what I believe, that humans are born innocent and morally virtuous as children, and we lose our way when we get close to other humans who are adults. And that we have to view people inherently, but they're flawed. Now, I'm going to be honest, I just can't see relying on Trump as a humanist, as someone who's going to have my good at heart. But I have to see that there is good in this man, but he may be a little flawed. So that's, you know, again, humanism allows me to see you for who you are, not for what I want you to be. Now, the last writer, but there are many more, Richard Wright. Now, has anyone read The Invisible Man? And if you haven't, struggle through it. It's not an easy read, but it has worthwhile because this is a man growing up when people were lynched day in and day out. I mean, Zora and Richard are seeing what is done to a black person, but yet there's still remaining hope. You know, and he understands and expresses, I was made to go to church. Amen, I know that feeling. I had given, you know, God's existence a tacit, like, yeah, okay, you're alive. But I had my doubts. My faith was wielded to the common realities of life, anchored in the sensation of my body and what my mind could grasp. And nothing could ever shake the faith and not my fear of an invisible power. Now, he doesn't necessarily believe in God, but he believes that there are common realities of life that anchor us here on this earth. And they expose the simple issue that surrounds humanism intellectually. I know I should strive for good. I know that generally we share the same beliefs. And I get nervous when I see leaders who I doubt their moral code. I mean, if you can say riots are wrong on January 6th, but the man who created it is an okay guy, I'm worried. Just, you know, I just can't make that jump with you. But how do I move my belief to a working platform of real emotion and real growth? What acts do I show my solidarity with the human spirit? Do I live what I believe and find satisfaction and peace? Because I'm telling you, humanism cannot live in a book or a treatise. We can use the examples found in the readings, but we must incorporate it into our beings. I want to give you an example. I may scorn, I don't, but I may. I may scorn, example. Don't get freaked out. I may scorn someone else who doesn't have a law degree. I may scorn someone who doesn't have higher education, and I don't think they're up to my standard. Yet, how do I greet them? How do I treat them as fellow human beings or ignore them? That's the humanism that I have to grapple with. How do I treat you? In our real lives, we can debate the intellectualism of free will or determinism. Yet in conclusion, we must take our spirits to stop and help people, or we determine the person is not worth our time. How many of you came here initially and said, oh my goodness, these are only UT people and I can't stay? But someone reached out to you. Someone loved you. Someone convinced you to stay. Or better yet, you met someone who wasn't a UT person and you said, oh, and they're welcome. They're okay. Because that is the community that exists here. Now, everyone knows 1 Corinthians 13. We hear it whenever there's a wedding. I'm sorry, most people do it. And it ends with, now these three remain, faith, hope, love. But the greatest of these is love. It recalls the reader that three things need to make a whole person. You need faith, the intellect. You need hope and love to meet your neighbor, to meet your community. And you need that intellect to merge that love, the hope in your heart, and to live the spirit of what you believe. We are called not to just intellectualize. We are called to live the mind, the body, the spirit, the truths we believe in, so we can fulfill the divine work. Now, divine here, when I say it, for me as a Christian, is God. But the divine work can be the work that we have on this earth, that we meet everybody as a spirit of love, a spirit of care, that the fact you breathe, I care, I love you individually. You heard from this pulpit, and not from me, faith without works is dead. To just hold the intellect and not do the work is empty. It is important to note that work follows faith. Works are a good diagnostic barometer of where our true faith lives, where it lies in our soul. What is good? And I'm quoting from James, just in case you ever want to go look yourself. 2:14 and 26. What is good, dear brothers and sisters, if you say you have faith, but don't show it by your actions? Can that kind of faith help anyone? Suppose you see a brother or sister who has no food or clothing, and you say, well, goodbye. Have a good day. Stay warm. And don't forget to eat well. But you don't give that person any clothing. You don't give them any food. What good have you done? So you see, faith by itself is not enough. Unless it produces the good deeds, it's dead and useless. So your deeds mean something. It spiritually helps you to grow. Today you might just be about helping your neighbor. Today you might be helping your community. Today you might be helping the politics of this world. Now, I would hope you all are on board with the politics sooner than later, given what's happening in Tennessee. Yet, I'm not going to fault you if you are still growing spiritually, as long as you recognize the intellect is not enough. It's okay to read. It's okay to discuss this. It's okay to have ideas about it, but it means nothing unless you bind it with love, care, and works. It is time for us to stop being intellectual and to get our hands dirty. So may it be. The closing words of prophetic church mean a lot to me, and I usually let Chris say it. But I want to tell a brief story as a closing word. I remember someone in this congregation, and I get teary when I hear it and when I say it, when they told me how back in the 60s, when Black people couldn't shop in stores, that they would buy shoes, or they would bring the shoes and let this Black woman try them on so she could be fashionable, so she could wear them. That is doing something with your faith, with your belief. I don't care if you don't believe in God. I don't care if you know there's a God. I don't care anything if your works will do good for someone, to give someone that moment of pride, that they know they are human and that you see them as human. It is important that when you go out of here today, you see a person who is human and you love on them, and you love on them good. whatever means that you have, you will do the best that you can. God bless. That's coming from me. And may the world be a safe place for all of us. And the final thing, oh, I have to wait. I thought you did a musical benediction, right? All right, go ahead, do it. Yeah. Remember, your neighbor is not the one who lives next to you, but who lives in the world with you. Go in peace.
He had been a